Hello and welcome to my studio. We are continuing a chromatic self-portrait series that we were working on for our portfolios. I want you to join me if you're painting with me today, and I want to thank you for being with us today. So a while back I started this piece. It's on canvas panel. I didn't have stretch panel this time, and I painted over something that I was using before because I didn't like it. So I started to do a self-portrait kind of sort of out of my mind. And I'm using, let's see, I'm using warm colors here, minus the green. I've got my red and my yellows, and then I have green in here. So I'm also using a complementary color scheme, which is using the red and the green. So I've got a couple of combinations of color theory going here. I would say analogous, but the red and yellow aren't next to each other on the color wheel. But if I start blending some orange and some red orange and some yellow orange, then that will work. So what I'm going to do is I have my palette here, and I'm going to, we're working on acrylic, and I have my palette that I'm going to show you. I have a piece of tape. And I covered it up with plastic so I could revisit the same paint from the last time I painted. And you don't have to throw away paint. Reuse, renew, recycle. So I think I have some red that's still working, but if not, you know, whatever I need, I'll just put it on my palette. And I think I want to start here in the background today. I don't know why I'm feeling that yellow. Maybe I want spring to come, sunshine, come on in. So I think that was a cadmium yellow medium. So I'm going to jump in here and dig in my little paint box that's under me that you can't see. And I have found my cadmium yellow medium. Sometimes you try to keep the stuff organized, but it doesn't always work. So I'm using acrylic out of the tube. You use whatever works for you. And then I'm gonna go from there. So I'm just gonna squeeze out. And when you paint, just squeeze out enough paint. Squeeze out however much you need, or if you have those little paint pots, scoop out, squeeze out, whatever you have. Only get what you need for that moment, because you may take out too much and then you may end up, you know, not being able to put it back in the tube, or you don't want to waste it. So just squeeze out a little bit at a time, and if you run out on your palette, just squeeze a little bit more. So I'm starting with some cadmium yellow medium. It looks like mustard. It looks like yellow mustard, not the deli mustard, the spicy mustard or whatever they call it. So I'm just going to use straight yellow because I don't know where I'm going with this right now. And I kind of thought about it, but sometimes it just works out when you're doing it and you don't plan it. And I've got my water over here and my brushes underneath. I think I'm going to put my water down here so it doesn't spill. All right, so I think I want to use a flat brush because I want to cover not a whole lot of space, but since I don't know what direction I'm going in, I kind of want to control my space. So I'm going to use a flat brush, maybe like this. And then that way, as opposed to a flat brush like this. Like that's, if I wanted to cover all that area real fast and there was nothing there, then yeah, maybe. But now I kind of want to control what I'm doing because I'm making decisions as I go. And I need to have that freedom in that room. And I need my paper towels that I just put behind me. So I always have some paper towels, water, my spray bottle, which is back behind me. So I think I'm good on the spray bottle though. If not, I'll just dip in my water. Spray bottles are good though if you're working with acrylic and you need it to last longer because it won't dry on you. All right, so I put my brush was in the water, but I don't want it dripping wet because I need the paint to stand on its own and not be too translucent or too transparent. I need it thick because I just see that I want a thick layer of yellow here. So if I have too much water in my brush, it's gonna be kind of washed out. It's gonna dilute it. So I'm just gonna pick up a big old wad of yellow on my brush. And if y'all didn't know, if you photograph your artwork as an artist, yellow is the hardest color to photograph because it just doesn't always come out right on a photograph. All right, so all I know is I want more yellow here. Yes, I want bright yellow mustard yellow here. Now, and I even have too much water on my brush there because you can still see through what's underneath it. So I'm just picking up a bunch of yellow. And with acrylic, if you want to build up the surface, if I wanted to leave that texture, I don't know if you can see it there, but if I wanted to leave that and let it dry like that, it's going to dry however you leave it. So if you leave like a little ridge in there or a little bump in there, it's going to dry just like that, and it'll be in the picture. So if you want it blended, then blend it. If you don't, then don't. So all I know right now is that I want to build up the surface. Do I want those, my paint strokes? I don't think so, but I do want a thick coat of paint. All right, because that was just too washed out for me. And I just went through all that paint. I just squeezed out just that quick because I just went flat paint, no water. Didn't blend it, just slapped it on there. All right, I think I'm gonna do a little bit more, and then I might, oh goodness, y'all, I had some green paint left on the palette, and the yellow just went in the green, so now I gotta get another brush. I'm not even gonna wet this. I'm just gonna, let's hope that it did not get, that's my sign to move on. Not even use that yellow. So now I got a big old glob of yellow on my palette that has some green in it, and I might need that for up there. So maybe Providence had it that it worked out like that. Your accidents work for you. All right, I'm just gonna, and this is kind of abstract. So abstract meaning it's something that you can make out, but it's not the way it looks in real life, as opposed to non-representational. Non-representational art is where it's not a thing. Like, this is a face. We know this is a face, but it's kind of abstracted as far as the color. If it were non-representational, it would just be color everywhere. No face, no chair, no nothing. You can't tell what it is. All right, so I think I want to go back to my face because I don't know what I was doing with my face. All I know is I had some yellow. So I'm going to take the same yellow on my brush that I switched because the other one has green in it. I want to make that pop out a little bit more. Then start blending because this is dry. And I want to, now see where it's overlapping. If I wanted to come in there with some green, I could. With that green that was on the palette, on the other brush by accident. Now be careful with flat brushes because with flat brushes you can see your brush strokes. And if you don't want to see your brush strokes, then you're going to have to keep blending, keep it wet, keep it moist. Now I don't know if y'all can see that, but I have that green paint that, this is an accident, but I'm going to use that to my advantage because I want to mix some of that green with that yellow. So I'm going to, but it's on the wrong side, so I could go upside down. Yay me. See, and I'm not going to, see how the green is on this side of the brush, so I'm not going to flip it because I don't want any green over here. I want the green over here. Now I'm painting with my left hand. I am ambidextrous when it comes to art. That's the only time I can do that. When I write, obviously I'm right-handed, but I've always been able to put the brush in my other hand and get done what I need to get done. Now you see how that blended? You can blend with the stuff on the brush. Like there was straight green on this side and yellow on this side, and you know, obviously yellow up underneath that. And so without moving my brush, I knew I wanted the green on that side, so I just stroked it. Now, I want to blend this, but I don't want to use this because there's green somewhere. So I'm just going to tip over here in this yellow and blend that without touching the green. Now, I think I want to bring my green down. Well, I'll have to go up now because it's on this side of my brush. And my brush is getting dry. So I need to wet. I'm just going to dip this straight in the water, not all the way in, just on the tip. And that might run, and if it does, I got my paper towels handy because I need some of that wetness, but I don't want it running. But it needs, all right. There we go. And I'm doing it gently because I like that green in there, and I don't want that to mix. Now, I got a bunch of yellow on this side. So technically, I could probably just get that off my brush like that because there was no green on that side of the brush. And then take my other brush, blend that yellow without going to, this is how you mix while you're working and blend while you're working. All right, that's getting kind of dry there. All right, that's good. And I'm just kind of tapping my brush because this paint is semi-wet, semi-dry, and I want it to blend more here, so I'm gonna take that gently, slightly featherweight. Oh, I went the wrong way. I forgot. That's what I'm talking about. So now I have to go in there and do that. So now my green got in my cheek, and I didn't want green in my cheek, so I'm gonna flip this brush around and get some more. All right, there's yellow in there now. I mean, I'm sorry, there's green in there now, but I got so much yellow it's overtaking the green, so maybe you can't see it. I forgot I was supposed to be stroking up and not down because the green was on that side. So now the green is on. Let me see if I can do it. Now the green is kind of on both sides. All right, so anyway, I want to take this and go to the edge here. And I'm doing it really carefully because I'm painting with my left hand and I have less control with my left hand. I can do it, but when it comes to like hard edges like this, use the edge of your brush and just ever so slightly. Use it like a razor almost. Now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna use the other side of this brush because now I'm gonna blend that. I'm gonna pick up some of that yellow and blend that. I mean, look, we talking about like little feathery taps to blend. I want some more green. So now I'm just gonna, let's see, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to get a third brush. I'm gonna take this brush and get more green now. I want more green now. So it's like all green because I want green on the edge here. So I'm back to my right hand. I think that's too much because it's gonna be a big old roll and I don't want a big old roll. I'm gonna use my edge of my brush to get that sharp cheek edge. There's a big old streak of yellow in the middle of it. All right, that's not bad. All right, and then you don't want to mess with it too much because if you do, if you over paint it or overdo it or overwork it, it'll mess it up. So once you get to the place where you think it's good, you might want to leave it alone. Because if you overwork it, it's not gonna work. Now, I think my left hand, I'm gonna tap in because I want that edge to be really green and I want it to blend into the yellow. I'm getting streaks that I don't want. So what I may do is get a round liner brush, get a lot of green, but make it really viscous, like not so wet that it's running, but not so, you need some water because it needs to flow. So then this is too thick. So now I gotta find a round brush that, y'all can see my brushes. I gotta find a round brush that's skinny, that I can roll some paint in and get a nice little, oh, here we go. I think this is perfect. So it's round. It's not thin, but it's not thick. No, actually, no, that's too thick. I need one a little bit thinner. I need round and a little skinny. Okay, here we go. Because when you put that paint on there, it's gonna kind of multiply, if that makes sense. So the diameter or the circumference of the brush might multiply because you got extra paint on there. So this one is too fat. So it's in between these two, and I think I'm gonna use this one. So it's a little short round brush. I'm gonna get it really wet, and I don't want it watered down, but I want, when acrylic comes out of the tube, it's like toothpaste thick. I don't want it that thick. I want it more like maybe mayonnaise thick. Does that make sense? It's not pasty thick. It's wet enough to flow. It's viscous. So I've got enough paint on my brush and enough water on my brush so that, and this is wet, so I need to put my hand here. So I'm gonna do like this for control. Oh yeah. We're just talking about a few, now that I like that a lot. We're just talking about a few techniques. So now I'm kind of stuck over here on this cheek, but I'm trying to decide how I want it. And last time I was working some yellow, I'm sorry, some orange in the yellow, and then that was going to be, and I still may do that because I like this too yellow compared to this, but I have to be careful because I don't want the orange going into my green. Then I'll have a big old muddy mess. But let me get that edge there. Oh, this makes me very happy right now. Sometimes you can't talk because it makes your hand move. And I'll pull up off my brush so that I get more of a tapered line down at the bottom. Oh, yes. That's when Providence comes in and works with you. Sometimes your talent will jump in and take over for your brain because your brain is overthinking, and let your skill come as second nature. And I'm thankful for that. I really, really am. Because my mind is saying, do this, don't do this. And then if you just let it go and let it flow, your talent will work for you. And sometimes you don't mean to do it and it works out. Or you do mean to do it and it works out. So I'm just blending. And I took up too much green. I needed one little touch of green because I took up too much. I hope y'all are painting with me. I need some green that doesn't have yellow in it. Okay, there we go. I need one little tap because I blended too much, and it shows that little bit of yellow underneath. When you start blending, it picks up some of the paint and moves it around. And I want to do that, but not so much that you see what's under it. I want to do it just enough that it blends. And then once I get that right, I'm gonna leave that alone, because if I overwork it, it's gonna mess up. And then once you mess it up, you're gonna keep working and keep working and keep working. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So you gotta know when to stop. You gotta know when to keep going and when to stop. I've got my paper towels on my lap here because I need just enough water, but not too much. And now I need to blend this green with this green that has a little bit of yellow in it. And let's see, I need a little tad of yellow now. I think that's more than a tad, but I don't know. I think that's too much. I don't know, we're about to find out though. That's not enough. Okay, that was too much, but I'm gonna blend. And my brush is too soft, so I'm gonna do like this. I don't know if y'all can see these little details. Sometimes you gotta get right up on it. So I picked up too much green again. It takes patience, y'all. It really does. I'm gonna keep my eye on the time because I want to at least get some of that orange in the cheek if I can. I think I have too much water on my brush. Remember, if you get water on the barrel of your brush, you might want to get that off because it'll roll into the bristles and it'll be too much. You'll get this big blob of water where you don't want it to be. And this is starting to dry. So I'm going to get like one little teeny bit of water, just a little bit. Because I need just enough to reconstitute it, but not. And that's too much water. Well, okay, it's working. Now, on top of that, I'm just going to get a little tad of yellow to blend with that green. So that's too much. When you're blending on the canvas with acrylic, you have to work with, as you notice, one area at a time, because it'll dry. And, unless you're just all over the place and that you work that fast, and if that's what works for you, then that's fine. But if not, if you want detail, you may have to just work one little area at a time. It would be great if I could get a little area that has a little bit of green and a little bit of yellow in the same spot. And another thing, see what I'm doing now, I'm getting impatient because I want it to work and it's not working the way I want it to work, and then I'll start doing something that messes it up. So you got to be careful with that. And these other two brushes, let me put these in some water because I don't want those to run out. So make sure you eat before you start painting. Make sure you're mentally where you want to be, stable. Unless, like, if you're frustrated and you're doing like some abstract expressionism, you're just throwing paint everywhere, unless you know that's what you want. But if you're doing details that require concentration, patience, a slow hand, a slow arm, make sure you're calm and steady and happy. All right, that's working. Now, I'm gonna leave that alone. Now I do need to come down here because I want more yellow down there. And I think I can do this for about maybe 2 more minutes, but I need another brush. Okay, I need a round brush. It's not, okay. I'm gonna wet that. And then I can use some of that green that got, some of the yellow that got green in it. But I'm not gonna do it right now because I just wanna, okay, so it's still kind of wet there. So I'm just gonna very lightly tap in a little bit more yellow right there. Okay, I'm leaving that alone. Unless I decide, I might let it dry and then tap a few pieces of yellow on top of that. Now, I need yellow by itself with no green in it. So I'm gonna clean this brush off. I was using, well, I think I was using like cadmium red. I think I have some red over here on my palette, and I don't know if it's still wet. So let's find out. And sometimes like, if you have a big glob of paint, it'll be dry on the top and wet underneath. And you can just like take the little skin of paint off the top and get the wet paint out from underneath. But that whole piece, it's not totally dry, but it's too dry to use. So I'm just gonna grab my, what is this? Cadmium red medium. I'm just gonna take a little, it looks like fire truck candy apple red. I'm gonna get a little bit. And we're gonna stop. So I don't know if some of that yellow is still wet. So I'm gonna take, and I mean a very little bit of red with a wettish, a damp brush, because that red will take over. And I still think that's too much, but I'm about to find out. So I'm gonna very slightly, yeah, okay, that's enough. So I'm mixing in that red in that yellow to make some orange. Without touching that green over there. Because if you put red with green, it's going to make brown. I don't want that. So my challenge would be to blend this area. I'm just going to use that same brush on top of the yellow-green area without taking that orange into the green. And I think that worked. And I want one little spot of yellow on my cheek, like for highlight kind of, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to put just a dab of yellow right there as a blob, more like it. And then take off that extra, which is a big goopy toothpaste blob. And then blend that. And then I'm going to stop right there. That's my little highlight on my cheek. And I don't know if it works because I think I just picked up too much of the paint with the blob. But just blend that in. So that's as far as I got, but I hope y'all got to the techniques that I'm showing just within that little cheek. That's how you can blend straight on the canvas while the paint is wet and before it dries. And make sure you put your brushes in the water because acrylic can ruin your brushes. So I'm gonna stop there. Thank you for joining me, and we will continue at another time. Thank you for your time. Talk to you soon.